Hi everybody, welcome back to Anton Recipes. Today we have a really cool recipe for you using the whole pineapple, or almost the whole pineapple. It's two different recipes. One is the jam using the flesh of the pineapple, and one is a cordial or a syrup that you can use as a dilute drink using the skin of the pineapple. So let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to do, in a pot on the heat, I'm going to empty the pineapple, this is for my jam, into my pan. And you just want to bring that up to heat. So I'm using chopped pineapple. You can puree it if you want your jam to be smooth, but I like chunky jam. So I'll just give that a bit of a stir and let the temperature come right up. All the ingredients and the measurements and everything like that is going to be listed in the description down below. Whilst that's heating, I'm just going to add a bit of water. You don't want too much, just enough to help it start bubbling. Whilst that's boiling, I'm going to start on my cordial, which is just basically a syrup that you dilute with water and drink. So in this pot, I have some skins of pineapple that I took from my jam. So the skins of pineapple, the core of the pineapple, and then some leftover pieces of pineapple that was too much for the jam. Now I'm going to add some hot water to my pot for the syrup. And you just want to cover all your fruit. Give that a bit of a stir, make sure it's fully submerged. And then I'm going to cover this as well and let it come to a boil. Once it's come to the boil, you just want to give your pineapple a stir. This is the jam. And then once it softens a bit, we're going to mush it down just to help the breaking down process. Now it's been about 5 minutes with the pineapple boiling. So what I'm going to do with my potato masher, I'm just going to squish down the pineapple. Now obviously if you have a blender or you prefer your pineapple smooth, you can just blitz it all up once it's cooked. Just make sure you let it cool a bit so you don't hurt yourself in the blender. Or you can do it straight away whilst the pineapple is cool. You can just blend it all together before you start cooking it. The thing about jam is that it's very forgiving, so don't feel like you have to do things in an exact order or you have to, copy things to the exact recipe. As long as you have the right amount of fruit ratio to your sugar, you can be quite experimental with your jam. Okay, so I am happy with the size of that. And then I'm going to add just a pinch of salt because it will give it flavour. Mix that in. And then all of my sugar. You just want to stir it in until that sugar dissolves. I think that's more or less dissolved. Now my pineapple and sugar has dissolved and it's made a lovely liquid. I'm going to turn my heat to medium low. Are you going to let it boil? And you want it to bubble away so that sugar starts to form a syrup and then turn into the jam. So I'm just going to allow that to heat up, boil, and, you know, do the science side of things. But just make sure you keep stirring occasionally, making sure that your jam is not sticking, and you need to keep a close eye on it because it will change quite quickly. It should take between 30 minutes to an hour depending on the amount you have, the temperature of your stove, etc. Now my syrup, which is going to be my cordial, has come to boil. Take the lid off and I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. So a pinch of salt, and just, I know it seems really weird, but salt has a way of bringing out the flavour in other products without being recognisable as salt. I've got the rind of a lemon, some ginger for a bit of heat, pineapple and ginger, nice combination. And finally, your sugar. Ooh. I'm going to use brown sugar because we like the flavour of brown sugar, but you can use any granulated sugar that you like. Just be aware, if you are using brown sugar, it will give it a darker colour because it's brown sugar. Okay. Once that's all incorporated, you just want to let that bubble on a medium-low heat until the liquid has gone down to about, probably lost about 25%. You just want to let it reduce down and turn into a syrup. And just so you know, guys, you can add all sorts of different things into your pineapple drink or any cordial you're making. For the purpose of our drink, I'm only adding pineapple, ginger and lemon because we want the pineapple to be the dominant flavour. But you can add stuff like chilies to give it a bit of heat. It will make it a perfect winter drink. Cloves, cinnamon, perfect for Christmas time. All sorts of things, black peppercorns even. You can add peppermint into it, make a peppermint cordial. How about an elderflower cordial? You know, the limits are endless. Does that make sense? So when you're making your jam, keep a good close eye on it. As you can see, it's becoming more translucent in colour. The colour of the jam, the pineapple has changed. It's like see-through, almost like glass pieces. And that's how you know that it's not long from becoming a jam. The colour is, keep an eye on that colour. If it goes a dark colour, then it will become toffee rather than a jam. So we don't want it to go much darker than this. We're just waiting for the syrup to thicken up just a little bit. Right, so it's so close to being done. As a final kind of, you know, oomph to the jam, I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice from a fresh lemon. You want to stir that in and let it boil for around 5 to 10 minutes until it's gone back to the correct thickness, because obviously the juice has added moisture to the jam. My jam has now reduced to the correct thickness that I personally want for this jam. Just remember, don't let it go too dark, because if it's very dark in colour, it will be more like a treacle, and once it cools down, you won't be able to put a knife in it or anything. So just keep an eye on the colour and the consistency of the jam. When you make a jam, when you test it, it tends to be very liquidy and it can make you feel like it needs a lot more. But remember, sugar is very, very hot and it's very liquidy whilst it's hot. But once it starts to cool, you will start to see the thickness really come through. So I'm going to show you a trick to check whether your jam is done in case you're unsure. So hopefully you can see, when you put your finger through, there's that line here. That line is not moving. It's staying separated. So that's how you know your jam is ready. And when that cools fully, you will have a proper jam. So now what we're going to do is pour this jam into a sterilised jar whilst it's hot. So just clean the rim of that. Be careful because it is really hot. Then I'm just going to tap it to release any air. And then you're going to put your lid on. Once it cools down, this will suck right in, and then you know it's fully sealed. So this has been in the fridge for maybe around 20 minutes and it's fully cooled down. And just to show you, it's a proper jam that lifts off like a jam. It's set, but it's soft enough to spread. You can spread that on your toast. It's not hard, it's not too toffee like, it's perfect. So that's exactly what you want for your jam. It's really good. I'm really pleased with this recipe and I really hope you guys try as well. Right guys, so this has been boiling for around an hour. I've left the lid off occasionally just to speed up the process to let some of that water evaporate. We're going to let this set overnight. That's what I would suggest, because the longer you leave it in the water, more of the flavours are going to come out and it's going to become a much richer kind of cordial. So I would highly recommend leaving it overnight in the fridge, and then the next day we will strain it and put it into your container of choice. I'm going to use probably a bottle, and then you can have it throughout the next few weeks. You have your own homemade cordial. Hi everybody, welcome back. It's the next day and our syrup has been resting overnight in the fridge. So now the flavours are fully married and perfect. So I'm just looking at it and it's very thick. It's thickened quite a lot. It's perfect. It's really, really good, guys. And the smell of the ginger and the pineapple really is coming through. So we're just going to strain that. I've got a little glass bottle for my cordial and I'll be straining it into this. You just want like a sieve, fine sieve to keep all the bits out, and just have a nice bottle. Any kind of container really will do. So now that is done. It's a very dark colour, much darker than when we started, and that's just signifying all the flavour, all the sugar that's reduced and everything that's come out of the fruit and veg. Or should I say just fruit? And there you have it, guys. 2 recipes that you can make out of the whole pineapple. The skin that you would normally throw away, we've made into this delicious cordial drink. And the flesh that you would normally eat, we've made into a jam to preserve it for long term. So if you're at the end of the pineapple season, you don't know what to do with all your pineapples, you're thinking I can't eat this much, make it into your jam and make it into your cordial. Now the best way to serve this, I think, is on some cold ice. Ice is always cold. And you pour your cordial over it. You pour your water, a slice of lemon, mix it around and have a lovely taste. That is really, really good. It's delicious. You can taste the pineapple, the ginger. It's ice cold. It's really refreshing. It's not sickly sweet. This is perfect. Guys, try it. Experiment with it. Try other kind of fruit skins that you would normally throw away and make it into a cordial. It's so simple and easy. You won't be disappointed, trust me. So that's all from me, guys. Remember to like, share and subscribe this video. The recipe is down in the description box, so if you need any specifics, it's all listed down there. And I look forward to seeing you in our next video. Ciao!